Welcome into the lounge. We have a big time guest. We got a Pro Bowler. It's been a while. Since I did it on that big loss, and that just didn't feel right. So I'm glad we got this one.
Yeah. Well, when you did it on the big loss, you had to kind of take some of the gusto out of it. You can't go all in for that.
Exactly. Well, my kids are napping too, so if I do the full big, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. Anyway, we have Mark Andrews, Pro Bowl tight end Mark Andrews, on with us today. Check in how he's doing amongst all this craziness of COVID-19, and just his take on Hayden Hurst and what he expects from himself next year. So a lot of good stuff. But before we get into that, we of course have to review the results of the draft.
Well, why don't we tease that and then get into the interview with Mark and read the draft results? We've gotten some good emails.
Yeah, you're just hoping to get one last-minute email here that comes down on your side. Spoiler alert, I was the unanimous winner. I'm off the Schneid, Garrett. It's my time to shine, baby.
All right, we'll talk about that after the interview with Mark. And as always, you guys can email us at thelounge@ravens.nfl.net. So let's go ahead and welcome in our guest, tight end Mark Andrews.
Mark, I got to start with this. You referenced in the conference call with reporters that you have a prison workout system in the backyard. Right. Can you describe this a little bit more for us?
Yeah. So, just thinking of ways to, work out. I bought a bench and a bunch of just like free weights and a mat out there. And I've got some turf in the backyard. So just, going out there every day, lifting, doing pull-ups, things like that, are kind of reference to kind of like a prison workout, just making it up and doing your own thing.
I feel like it better not be like a nice backyard. Like it has to be chopped up and like a lot, mostly dirt.
I don't know if it's full on like dirt and everything like that. There's some nice parts of the backyard, but we make it work.
All right, here's a tough question. If Mark Andrews were in prison for something, what would he be in prison for?
That's a tough question. I don't know.
You got to be careful with how you answer that.
I'll let the people decide for sure. I'm not.
All right. I'll let that slide. So how's it been for you? What's this process like for you?
It's been good. This for me, this offseason has definitely been, probably my best one, to date, just in terms of working out every day, taking care of my body and just doing everything right. I've kind of, perfected that through the last 2 years of off seasons. And, I feel really good, but it's a crazy time right now with everything going on and not being able to go places and work out and see people. So, it's different in that aspect, but again, I found ways to get around that and I'm using it and, just trying to get better, each and every day. And, I'm taking that mindset and just attacking the day.
Not to harp too much on the workout piece of it, I'm just curious, if you were to compare it to what you were to do last year or 2 years ago, is your routine, completely different in terms of the workouts that you're doing, who you're doing it with, where you're doing it? Is it been completely upended from a physical workout standpoint?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely evolved for sure. And, I think, what's going on with the pandemic and this virus, it's kind of, forced you to have it a little bit different than in years past. And so you can't go to these, facilities and work out with people and stuff like that. And, I'm fortunate to be able to work it out in my house. But, again, there's the stuff that we're doing is just way different than what we're used to.
When the season ended, I know you guys had the exit interviews, meet with the coaches and all that. Was there something that you came out of that time saying, okay, I really want to improve on this?
Yeah, I don't know if there was a coaches meeting or anything like that. I know for me, one of the big things for me has always been blocking. It's always going to be that, but just being upper body, getting it stronger. And I've taken this off season to get stronger with my upper body. That's something that's been a focal point for me. And then going to continue working on the things that I'm good at. Route running and understanding the game. And so just trying to, evolve your games in every way possible. I'm not, where I need to be. I wasn't where I needed to be last year. There's a step above where, I was last year that I want to take and I want to be this year. And I know I will take it and I know I'm going to take it.
So can you tell us where you are right now?
I'm almost like, what do you mean where I am?
Like where you're in this is your house? What's the situation here? It looks fancy, this wood ceiling thing going on.
Yeah, so my brother and I bought a house in Arizona about 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, and so just been living here. Yeah, I got a little like wood panels on top, but love living here. Arizona's home for me, so it's been awesome living here with my brother.
I've never heard somebody buying a house with their brother. That's a first thought for me.
Yeah, it's I've got a super close family. My family and I are almost inseparable. So for me to be able to live with my brother, it's been incredible. We're best friends, and I love it. I love him to death, and we're having a great time.
Well, I remember last off season, you came back and you were talking about how you're working on your blocking, and we all asked you, well, who did you work with? And you said basically you were kicking your brother's butt up and down the field. So this is the same brother whose ass you kicked.
Yeah, the same brother's ass that I kicked. Yeah, exactly. He says if we're going to do it again this year, I've got to get a pad so I can block him.
Yeah. Especially now. I mean, now you're in lockdown. You guys spend a lot more time together. You're in this space, so it's like if it's going poorly out there on the practice field or whatever, the backyard, you can't escape him.
Yeah, there's no escaping it now. So we got to be smart.
What are you doing when you're not working out, Mark?
There's not much to do right now. So I live like 2 miles away from my parents, so I go over there a lot. I see my grandparents a lot, and I'm a family guy, so I love going to see my family and hanging out with them. I'm trying to use this time as much as possible because I'm in Baltimore, over half the year. So just using this time to enjoy my family, take advantage of that.
Have you watched Tiger King on Netflix?
Yeah, I have. Sure. Carol Baskin definitely killed her husband. So.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, no doubt.
Is the theory out there that she fed him to the tigers? I watched one episode and I haven't watched any more.
Yeah, I think it's either that or she, I don't know what she did. She put him down the well. Or there's a bunch of different theories, but she definitely did that.
Yeah, I don't know how you stopped after one, Mink. I mean, I started with one, and I didn't quite realize at the time that it was a full series. I was like, wow, that was crazy. And then I realized that it was full 7 episodes. I'm like, I can't stop watching this, even though it is terrible. But I don't know. Everyone's talking about it, so I felt I had to jump in.
I'm in on Better Call Saul or whatever.
Better Call Saul. That's a feed off of what's that feed off of?
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad, yeah. Right. It's like the prequel.
Right.
Yeah.
I gotta watch that.
So all right. So I want to go back to something you said. You talked about how you feel like there's another level to your game. I mean, you already were playing at a really high level. You made a Pro Bowl in your second season, led the team in all these different receiving categories. What does a higher level look like to you?
I want to be the best, and when I say that humbly. I really do. I want to be the best, and I want to be the best tight end. And I'm not there yet. There's a lot of things I have to work on. Blocking is one of them. I think I've made strides in that area, and I know the team trusts me, and so I'm making strides, and I'm trying to do all these different things, and learning different routes, how to run routes, and just ways to get open. A lot of attention during last year was focused on me. So just trying to beat man coverage and stuff like that is going to be big. So trying to do everything I can to reach the point of being the best and be the best for a long time. And that's where I want to be.
Who do you look at as the guys you have to overtake, right? I know George Kittle obviously has put up big receiving numbers and is a pretty nasty blocker. Yeah. Obviously there's a lot of really good tight ends out there right now.
Yeah.
Who do you look at?
I mean, George Kittle is, definitely, the guy that's, up there right now. And Travis Kelce is, second to none. So those two guys are kind of in their, a tier to themselves. But there's a lot of good guys, behind them. There's guys like Zach Ertz and, you look at Darren Waller, the year he had, and there's so many, players that, are kind of stepping up. So a lot of competition with the tight ends, and that's what's fun about it. You got to keep it competitive in your mind and use that as fire.
Did you see teams change the way they defended you over the course of kind of the secret's out? Like you're not catching anybody by surprise anymore. People know that you're a really good tight end. Did you see that they defended you differently maybe in the second half of the year?
No doubt. It was way different from my first year. And, I had Jalen Ramsey, following me around the whole game when we played them. And, I'm a tight end. Why is he covering me the whole game? So, there was different things like double coverage and stuff like that they keyed in on. A lot of stuff on third down. It's one of the downs that I'm good at. So it definitely changed. And again, it goes back to, I got to be better. I got to be, better for those type of situations where, the defense may lock in on me, but it doesn't matter.
What went through your mind when Jalen Ramsey was shadowing you?
I mean, it was a good competition. He's obviously a great player, and I was excited to go against him. But at the same time, that leaves someone else to be open. And, all those guys stepped up that game. So it was awesome.
I mean, he's known as maybe one of the biggest trash talkers in the league. You kind of quietly, I've seen you talk trash, especially on the practice field. I've seen it. So you guys obviously got the better of them that game. Were you doing much talking that game?
No, I didn't even think I needed to. It was almost like a silent killer type of thing. He's obviously had some, few choice words and says some things, but I let it slide because the scoreboard was up.
Are you gonna keep going with the thing this year?
Salt Bay.
The Salt Bay. Yeah,
Salt Bay, yeah.
I didn't do as much last year, to be honest, but I'm definitely gonna still do it. I love doing it. I think it's fun. I think it's a good thing for like fans and just to have fun with the game. You always got to think of ways to make things exciting and fun in your own head, and to me that's one of them. Think of some other things and unique things to do, but that's definitely one of the trademarks.
So we want to talk about Hayden obviously a little bit, and I know you talked about it a few days ago, but I know you said you were shocked by the trade, but I kind of took that to mean like anytime a friend gets traded, it's shocking. But I had to imagine that you kind of saw that like that might happen, right? That like in your conversations with Hayden, he probably expressed like, man, like I'd kind of like an opportunity, a bigger opportunity. Like was there some of that?
There's definitely, I don't know if frustration is the word, but you see Hayden and he's obviously a great player, and that's frustrating, as a player to be a very good player, you're a good player, and to not have as many opportunities as you want. And with the situation, it was just a weird situation. But he stayed professional the whole time, and you couldn't see that really by his body language or anything. So just talking with him, it was a shock to me. I just didn't know it was coming. He didn't say anything, so it was just kind of all of a culmination of not knowing and then finding out he's getting traded. But again, I've been so close to Hayden for so long. We came in together, we've been best friends, and I'm excited for him. I'm excited for him to go do his thing because I know he is.
Yeah. How did you guys like keep that from being awkward? Because I mean, really, you stepped into the vacuum when he suffered his injury his rookie year, and just you were so good that the door was closed to a degree, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like you hear his frustration and kind of see it, but you're the reason, kind of, right? You're like I imagine you're kind of like, I don't, like how can you be such good friends and avoid that awkwardness?
It's weird. Hayden and I, kind of grew up very similar. You were very similar people. We got similar traits and personalities, and it was very much of like a healthy competition. We were obviously very good friends, best friends now off the field, and then when it came on the field, it was competing with one another, and I think that made us better. Pushed us, made us work harder. Constantly during practice, who's running faster, who's making more catches, stuff like that. So it wasn't one of those things where he was blaming me for not playing as much or anything like that. It was a healthy competition between he and I, and that's the way it should be. I think when you get to the point of it turns sour, that's not good for the team. And at the end of the day, we're both team guys.
So you guys called yourselves a three-headed monster last year. I'm sure they're probably going to get another tight end, maybe in a draft or free agency. Do you expect to kind of welcome in another member of that three-headed monster pretty quickly?
Yeah, I think that there's definitely going to be some more guys bring in. Obviously, Chuck, we have 3 right now, and all those guys are going to have opportunities to do their thing, and Depending on who we bring in, it's going to be a competition. Just like any other position on our team, it's going to be a competition, and it's going to be fun. I'm excited to see how it shakes out.
So we talked a lot about the draft, and obviously that there's kind of a love affair with Oklahoma guys. Mm-hmm. You obviously being one of them, Hollywood last year, Orlando. So is that trend going to continue this year? Kenneth Murray could be certainly the option. Is he going to be the pick at 28? And what do you know about him? Tell us about Kenneth Murray.
I'd love to say that he is. I know that, obviously Eric DeCosta loves Oklahoma guys, and, it's kind of worked out for him in the past with, recently, Orlando and I, and then Ben and Marquise, all great players. And so we'll see, obviously. But, Kenneth he's a kind of a unique guy. He's a, outspoken person, very much a leader. He has that kind of Ray Lewis, motivational type speeches, that, everyone loves to hear. He's got that mindset, the killer mindset, and loves to play football. That's the main thing, is loves to go out there, fly around, hit people, and that's what you're looking for a linebacker. He's going to lead the team, lead the defense, and that's the type of player he is.
Well, I think the question is it a offensive Oklahoma thing, or does this also apply to the defense? How good is Oklahoma's defense? Pretty good, or what?
Oklahoma's dogs. Oklahoma's going to have dogs all the way around. So it's a different. The program breeds. Guys like that. Guys that work hard and come in each and every day to get better. And that's what they preach there, and that's what you're going to get when you draft guys from Oklahoma.
Well, Garrett, I'm shocked you didn't bring up CeeDee Lamb. I thought that's your dream scenario.
I know. I was just going to get to that. Like, my dream scenario is either that he falls a little bit and then maybe we trade up and get him. Would that be the dream scenario for you too?
I hope he doesn't fall. I love CD.
He falls to us. He falls to us.
Yes, I hope he falls to us. He's insane, though. He's an incredible receiver. He's a pleasure to play with. Great teammate. I can't say enough good things about him. He's going to tear this league up. Everyone kind of compares him to like a DeAndre Hopkins type of guy, and it's a pretty good comparison.
No, you're doing this wrong. You got to say all the bad things that you've heard about him. Tarnish his name. You got to tell it not a locker room problem. Say all that stuff so that all the other GMs that are listening to this, they get scared off. That's the way you got to do it.
Because all the GMs listen to our podcast.
They listen to this religiously.
Yeah, he's not very good.
Hey, Mark, so I don't know if you knew this, but last year before the season, Garrett and we always make our predictions, right, for different stats leaders and whatnot. And we hit it on the head with you. All right. We don't get a lot of things right. We get most things wrong. But we said leader in catches, yards, and touchdowns across the board, Mark Andrews. Can we get an appreciation, something?
Thank you guys for believing in me. I appreciate that. That's very much appreciated. Thank you.
Is that kind of your expectation every year, though? Like, as you talk about next steps and all that stuff, like, is that your goal and your expectations to be the leader in those categories, as long as you're playing?
Obviously, being more of like a receiving tight end, it's, obviously that's kind of how many catches, how many yards and touchdowns you have kind of indicates, how a season that you had was. But again, I'm a team guy. I've always been a team guy. I'm always going to take, what I get. And, luckily last year, things worked out and had a good year. Had, led some categories, but that at the end of the day, doesn't mean anything. It's all about winning. And, our end goal is not what it was last year. We fell short, and, I didn't play good enough. Other guys didn't play good enough, and that's not going to cut it. So, looking forward, I don't go into the season thinking, hey, I want to be a leader in touchdowns, receptions, and yards on the team. That doesn't go through my mind. It's, I want to win a Super Bowl.
Well, and the other part B of that is I better put up bigger numbers than Hayden does in Atlanta.
Yeah, hopefully I'll see him in the Pro Bowl if that works out.
Nice. Well, Mark, thank you for joining us. Be safe. Hey, you said you went to your grandparents' house. I'm a little concerned. Were you in 2 weeks of self-quarantine before you did that?
I've actually been talking to them through the screen door in their backyard. So I'm do that right now.
Okay. All right. Good man. That's right. We got to be safe. So stay safe, Mark, and hope everything continues to go well for you in your training and everything else, man.
Appreciate it. Good talking with you guys.
All right, thanks, man.
Well, awesome stuff from Mark. Really appreciate him joining us. Garrett, do you think you would like to share a house with your brothers? You have two brothers.
I think that'd be fun. I mean, look, they're not married; they're single guys, and you get to hang out with your brother and live in your hometown. I think that'd be pretty fun.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah,
brothers would be good roommates.
Yeah, I think, and he talked about how they like to work out together, and that's important to them. So like, you got your workout buddy, your tackling dummy, I guess in this case for Mark, and I think it's probably fun.
Yeah, I feel that. Well, the question though is, when you're seeing a girl, and I should have asked Mark this, you bring the girl back and your brother's there.
Well, no one's seeing any girls these days. They're on lockdown.
That's true. How does dating, I've been out of the game for so long. How's dating work during COVID-19?
I think there's probably a lot of text messages.
A lot of sliding into those DMs.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, all right, let's get to the most important topic here. And that is the listener response to our bunker draft.
Yeah.
And as I teased at the top, I am the winner.
Well, let me just say this. You're rushing the assessment of the bunker draft. You said right before we started taping that you wanted to go ahead and get it out of the way today because there was a couple emails that said you were the winner. So you wanted to just tape this segment now,
unanimous
before
winner.
any come in my defense.
Now I know how Lamar felt when he got unanimous MVP. It's just the same thing for me right now.
Also, I don't know that you're unanimous. Well, I'll let you read your emails, but our great, director of digital media, Dave Lang, who's got great insight, great thoughts.
No. Dave's vote doesn't count.
Said that once again, he said he came into this draft feeling like it was going to be a win for you after all the bunker talk that you've done. But again, you fell short. And so that's a win for me.
Dave doesn't count. Dave still thinks that you nail the mock draft every year. It's been 3 years since you did. All right.
What emails you got?
Here's the emails. This one comes from Jesse Niederberger. Jesse said, I have a hard time picking winner, but on the strength of pizza, ramen noodles, and coffee with my last pick, I would go with Mink. And if you can't get to the store to buy any fresh fruit, applesauce wouldn't be a bad option. See, this guy knows what's up. All right. So beyond that, to the football, he was thinking if the top wide receivers, edge rushers are off the table, and Murray and Queen are gone, or if they don't want an inside linebacker in the first round, how about this scenario? You trade back into the top of the second round, and then maybe later into the second round, and come away with at least 3 second-round picks, in which you get maybe a wide receiver, maybe an interior offensive lineman, or an edge inside linebacker.
Right.
What do you think of that? Getting 3 second-round picks, plus if you trade back into the second, obviously you're picking up even more ammunition.
Right, a fourth or a third, whatever it is.
Depending on how far you trade back, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always the potential for the Ravens to trade back. I don't, as much as I've talked about, I think that this could be the year where they move up. I don't think that I would be shocked at all if they end up trading back, especially if the linebackers are off the board, especially if those pass rushers who maybe, Chason is gone, say Gross Matos is gone, and you don't feel like the receivers at that spot would be much better than you would get early in the second round, then what's the point of not trading back and adding picks? So I don't think that this is, as much as I like the idea of maybe trading up in the first round, I by no means think it would be a shock to see the Ravens move back.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Having the first pick in the second round or a very high pick in the second round is extremely valuable because you get that night to kind of sit on it, restack your board. Obviously, I think a lot will depend on how, like Ken said, how the board falls, right? Who's available there. If there's 3 or 4 guys that the Ravens really like at pick number 28, and because they have a variety of different needs, I mean, I think it's interesting this Blacklock player that Todd McShay projected to the Ravens, a defensive tackle, where you don't think that would be a possibility, but hey, you look at it and that defensive line, as stacked and talented as it is up there in age.
Yeah.
So I think that's an interesting pick.
Yeah.
Could he be had a little bit later?
Or Cesar Ruiz, the offensive lineman from Michigan.
Right. Sure.
Like, say you were to move back to the 36th pick and you take him.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that it's an intriguing scenario. As much as I love making a first round pick. Yeah, it's always like a bummer when you get to the end of the first round, you didn't make a pick. You're like, oh, I just
4 hours of time.
Yeah. Anyway, we're getting off the main topic here of the emails, and that's to praise my draft. I also like this email from Eric Vowles. He said, well done, guys, during this crazy time. We live in Texas, and my wife is a nurse. Stay at it. Thank you to your wife, Eric. Big props to her. Eric said, Mink totally decimated this draft, hands down. That's strong. That's strong. He said, toilet paper? Come on, man. He said, are we allowed to say this?
Let's just keep it. Let's just not read that part. Let's keep it rolling.
All right. I would go TP your blank. TP your blank. I like the reference. Then he says, only weak pick for Mink was applesauce, which the other guy I disagreed with. And I agreed with Garrett on tuna. You know, here's the thing. The more I thought about it. Oh, sorry. Let me finish. Otherwise, Mink for the domination win. Yeah. When I thought about it more, I was pretty distraught not to get peanut butter because, as we all know, I'm a huge peanut butter guy. But pizza is like a way better pick in this scenario. I mean, really, how much can you eat peanut butter just by itself? I could have pizza by itself for every meal of the day, every day.
Yeah, pizza has – but you know what? Let me ask you this question. How many times have you talked about frozen pizza on the podcast before yesterday? Any? Ever? Zero? Never. You've talked about peanut butter 1,000 times. You've not stopped talking about peanut butter. You talked to the team president about peanut butter. You on and on about peanut butter. That should be a win for me right there.
No. I love peanut butter. I'm not taking anything away from peanut butter on the surface. I'm just saying in a bunker scenario, if you're looking for something to fill you up, pizza is the way better call. Plus, I mean, pizza, I think, is my favorite food. It's my favorite food.
Also, in this bunker scenario, you got to prepare for all options. And one of those is a power shortage. And the freezer goes out. So now you have a bunch of spoiled pizza. While for me, peanut butter works in all situations. So
my God.
And my bottled water at the end. Well, when you get to the last pick, you kind of got to take a flyer. You know, it's a risky pick at the end of the final pick of the draft for me. So I go water. What if all the water stops working? The water system of the United States goes out. You are going to be in a lot of trouble. You're going to have some major issues. Me, on the other hand, I've got an endless supply of bottled water. I'm in a great spot.
I have a creek right down the street from me. I go down to the creek, just start lapping it up out of there.
How many times have you drank the creek water?
No, here's the problem is if everybody else has a toilet paper shortage, they might, and they don't have the bidet, what are they using the creek for?
Also
so that could be a problem. I need to get a water purification system now so I'm not getting sewage. Anyway, we got a lot of things to still sort out, but I think it's clear that I'm the winner. All right.
I think it's not clear that you're the winner, and we want some more emails. So send those in. Defend me, people. The lounge at ravens.nfl.net. Keep them coming.
Anyway, thank you for listening, and we will be back with you next week with more You know what? Maybe this is the week that Mel Kiper happens. This could be. I'm not throwing in the towel, Mel. Just know that. All right. I'm relentless. I'm going to get my old Relentless T-shirt out. I'm relentless, Mel. All right. So we're going to be back with you next week. Thanks for listening.